welcome to Talking Down the Highway, Beach Boys podcast presented by Strange Currencies Music. I'm Matt.
I'm Glenn.
I'm Tim. I think when you jokingly turned Glenn's mic down, you may have left it a little too low.
It felt low right there.
Right there.
In that moment, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Just real quick.
I'll try not to yell.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Try not to yell. I got
Exercise
so
a
excited.
little bit of volume control. Glenn.
Yeah, I get too excited.
I got a breaking
This
news.
is last week.
Right,
when,
of
when
course.
I turned
of course.
it down.
Well, speaking of last week, this is breaking news. I gotta interject here. Bobby Figueroa accepted our follow requests on Instagram. This is a guy who drums or has drummed for the Beach Boys. We were worried that maybe he was a hardcore Mike Love loyalist or something like that.
Apologist.
Honestly, he looks like a cool guy. All the pictures I'm seeing here, he's hanging out with Al and Carney Wilson.
All right.
And I don't see Mike anywhere.
So this guy might be Team Brian. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, all right.
I like him. Bobby,
Yeah.
Bobby, you're all right.
You are all right, Bobby.
Good for Bobby Figueroa.
Other than that Dodger fan thing.
Hey, back off.
I have no baseball loyalties or affiliations at all, so yeah, you're fine.
I have affiliations.
Anyway,
Well-
that was the breaking news.
Good,
All right.
good. To be fair, Mike probably would consider himself Team Brian.
Mike is a fucking tool.
Oh, man.
Break.
He's going to hear this.
Yep, he is. And then maybe we'll finally get an answer to the question that Beach Boys scholars have wanted an answer for years. What brand of dog food do you like to eat, Mike? The people must know.
Oh, that's funny.
All right.
All right. Do we dare talk about this thing that we've been talking about, or is that something that we
Wow.
that we bring up later?
I don't know, because there's some news that's creeping that I don't know. Have our sights yet been set on the finish line of this podcast? I mean, we're not halfway through the catalog.
We're about halfway through. I think when we first started theorizing this whole thing, I think we figured we had about 50 episodes worth. You know,
Wow,
that we could do.
that's a lot of episodes.
Between all of the albums, and we've dedicated a couple to one so far to the Beach Boys and American Family, and we're gonna do part 2 of that at some point.
The TV series.
There's at least one compilation that we're gonna do, and I don't know. Tim's talking about Books over there, or something. We could do like Brian's actual autobiography. So I mean, we figured this may be about 50 episodes.
Maybe if we're famous enough, we can start getting celebrity guests in and just talk about whatever.
Yeah,
I do know
an interview with Bobby, perhaps. Right?
maybe with Bobby.
You know where we might be able to track down Bobby is if he tours.
Well,
See, the other
I'm
thing
thinking
is
he's not going to be on this tour.
Yeah, we might need to get an interview with the guy who runs that Al Jardine with Lobster.
Right.
Daily Al
that'd be a
Jardine
good
with
one.
Lobster post.
Yeah,
do
what are
also-
some?
well,
we
I-
should let the people chime in. Who should we get to guest on this?
I have an in with Carlin. Peter name's Carlin.
Ooh.
I know a guy who knows a guy, essentially. But
all right.
he's a biographer. He'd be a biographer, not someone like. Well, he did actually the beginning of this, the sort of thanks or whatever. He said, he did extensive time, spent extensive time with Brian interviewing him, and apparently even at some point talked to Dennis and Carl at different times. So he would actually be a good get. But what are we talking about? We're talking about.
Let's not. Let's not.
Let's
I
not?
don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
Just yet.
There are workings to some surprises,
There's some complications.
some excitement in the future of the Talkin' Beach Boys podcast.
We got
so
big things.
y'all are big things are planned. So you should be following. You should be on Instagram. You should be following Talkin' Beach Boys. Talkin' Beach Boys.
That's right.
Right. You could.
We're not talking.
No, we're not talking. We're talking.
That's
Beach
somebody
Boys.
else.
So yeah, real quick, the last thing I want to say about Bobby Figueroa is I'm firmly in his camp now. Is because there's a picture of him on his Instagram with Blondie Chaplin
Oh yes, bonus points.
and Portland Trailblazers legend Bill Walton
Ooh,
randomly. So
Okay,
there we go.
all right.
I'm a Bobby fan.
Go
Bobby
Bobby.
Figueroa.
Bobby.
that's good.
Bobby, officially on Team Talking Down the Highway.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't like unfollow and block us after the last episode where we weren't sure.
Well, we
He's
weren't
gonna
sure.
get
we
2
had,
episodes
we had to
in,
do a
and
little
he's
bit of
gonna be
research.
like, "These
were
guys
clear.
are idiots."
Bobby,
and that may be true.
stay
but
with us.
still.
All right.
He wouldn't be the first person to call us idiots online. That's for sure. All right. Well, hey, let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about what we're talking about this week.
Yeah.
All right, we are back on Talking Down the Highway, and this week we are talking about Surf's Up.
Surfs up.
Surfs.
That lovable 2006 or ish cartoon.
Oh, I don't even remember that. It was like an animated movie.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
Wasn't there
are they
such a
like
thing?
penguins or something surfing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Surf's Up, a
I-
Beach Boys album. Yes, finally, the boys are back. Surf's Up. It's been too long since
They
we've had a
have not been
good.
talking about surfing.
Clearly, they're singing about the beach again. I had so yeah. There's that, but I want to just do a little context. There's a whole section in this book, the Peter James Carlin book, which is called "Catch a Wave: The Rise, Fall, and Redemption of the Beach Boys." Ryan Wilson, about live performances, sans Brian, in between Sunflower and Surf's Up, and it starts with. Again, having in the inn of Van Dyke Parks, he was on the board of the Big Sur Festival, Big Sur Folk Festival, which is at the same venue as the Monterey Pop Festival. He got the guys to play that, and this is like, during like when they were potentially going to do Monterey Pop, they were still like, I don't know if they really had the Pet Sound stuff really down live, and I think they were still dressing in the I don't know if they were in the stripes or what, but. Maybe even the leisure suits at that point. But at this point, they're all like hairy, bearded sort of hippies. They look like they fit right in with this folk festival. They get good reviews. The show, like somebody that was giving them shit for dropping out of Monterey is like, I owe them an apology. Maybe they're back. This is great. Maybe they're not who we thought they were. They've grown out of all that. And then they got a gig at Carnegie Hall. They played either 2 sets or 2 different shows. And that went over really well. And then at some point, they made a guest appearance at a Grateful Dead show at the Fillmore East, which is
big.
It was literally like a Dead show. And then Jerry Garcia's like, "Hey, everybody, the Beach Boys!"
Wow.
And they played some songs alone, and then they played some songs with the Grateful Dead. And this makes it sound like they were pretty well received, but then at some point when they were kind of meandering, somebody did shout out from the audience, "Bring back the Grateful Dead." And then in the Wikipedia it says, despite what was written, they were not well received by the Grateful Dead fans. But whatever, they're out there. They're trying to integrate into that sort of 60s counterculture. And then, at some point, I don't know the origin story, but they get Jack Riley as a manager. I think they go on his radio show. I think it starts there because he was a DJ. And then Riley is the one that really pushes them to write political songs. Apparently, he started an ad campaign. I don't know if it was television or radio, where the tagline was literally, "It's now safe to listen to the Beach Boys." Like, you're not going to be a square if you listen to these guys anymore. And apparently, he put Carl, he deemed that Carl was now the leader of the band.
Carl's now the leader.
Yeah.
The
Good
Beach
old
Boys,
Carl has
Carl.
graduated to good producer.
Yeah.
The Beach Boys are no longer square. I've even Jack Riley at this point also, there's the whole mythology of him writing a treatise, right? Like the way I understood it, he decided he wanted to see if he could get Brian to finish Surf's Up that had been unreleased out there floating, and
Okay.
rumor has it he writes up this sales pitch saying, "Hey, I've got this idea, guys. This is how we'll do it. Brian's gonna finish this Surf's Up, and
The
like
song, or are you talking about Smile?
maybe I'm fuzzy on those
Well,
details.
I don't know. I don't know this anecdote. I just know later on there's an anecdote about Carl finishing Surf's Up, essentially.
But whatever the case is that as the story goes, that they're impressed by Riley's
That's how he became
kind of go
manager,
get him,
yeah.
and they're like, hey, why don't you manage us? And that's where he's like, okay, here's part of the formula. We gotta get rid of that square look. We gotta
Yeah, by all accounts, he's a huge part of what comes next.
Right.
I forgot one little anecdote about the live performances. Apparently, Bob Dylan was in the audio booth during the Grateful Dead show, and he said to some reporter who's sitting there, he's like, they're fucking good, man. So they got this
That's a pretty good impression.
blessing from Bob Dylan.
It's
Yeah.
a good Dylan.
Well, he went to that Dylan museum.
Yeah, and I was trying to find a connection, and I couldn't, but this is the connection, I guess.
There's another one. Yeah.
There is a great connection, actually.
yeah?
Y'all need to find. This is about a year or two ago. It was on Instagram or something or other. It was Brian's birthday, and Bob Dylan recorded himself singing "Happy Birthday" to Brian.
Nice.
It's great.
Cool.
Highly recommended. Yeah.
Is that on the YouTubes?
I'm sure it's on the YouTubes or the somethings. Or,
have to find
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's great.
So this one, Surf's Up, is connected to Sunflower, the last album. When they've re-released a lot of the recording sessions. We talked about this last episode that Sunflower, Surf's Up, Landlocked are kind of, there's a lot of overflow here. If you get the Feel Flows box set, there's a lot of kind of ancillary content that comes out here. But the idea contextually, I've always kind of seen Surf's Up as kind of this relevance, conscious kind of heightened culturally attempt to get back in by the Beach Boys.
And it's really, I mean, from what I can tell, it's less their actual political, it's not really motivated by their actual feelings. It's more like Jack Riley saying, like, this is what's going to make you
This
relevant.
is what you got to do.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just keep ignoring what's going on in the world around you. You can't just keep writing about dreams and doing it songs, Dennis. You've got to.
I mean, doing it is timeless.
I mean, you can do that, but you can't just do that.
Oh,
You gotta branch out a little bit,
Right.
Dennis.
So and of course at this time this is Radiant Radish territory.
Well, I think so.
Yeah, like Brian's in his bathrobe.
Yeah, I guess, okay.
Working
So
at the Radiant Radish
Radiant
health food
Radish
store.
starts in 1969. So yeah, that was even going on while they were doing Sunflower. You're right, yeah. He's wearing a bathrobe, selling vitamins, essentially.
Great, awesome.
And at this point too, he's spending a lot more time in bed. He's barely involved in the production at all. Carl is really doing most of the production. According to this book, Brian is just up in his room, in bed. Every once in a while, he hears what's going on downstairs in the studio, and he'll come and poke his head in and make contributions. He does have a couple songwriting credits, and that again is part of the contractual obligation they have to Reprise, is that he has to write some of these songs, and he does. He has 3, I believe.
The last 3.
Yeah. But that's kind of all I have for context. I know that the UK pressing and singles didn't come out until several months later, and they actually didn't do very well, which is unusual for over there. But there's a quote from Riley, something like, "Well, we sold more, import copies, so like they were all just buying the American version, I think, of those. So by the time the British pressings came out, it was like kind of over with."
Where did this one debut, like on the charts, or how did it sell compared to Sunflower?
Really well. This was their best selling since Wild Honey.
Okay.
It was like number 29. Yeah,
again,
number 29 in the US.
Right, and 2020 and Sunflower were like
Like I
terrible.
said, Sunflower was their lowest point.
Right,
this
and
was
we're coming.
Oh, it's a high point. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Manson stuff going on. There's the Beach Boys are square. Maybe they're cult members. Maybe nobody's showing up to their shows, and
You think more people would show up?
You
if
would
they
think.
thought they were cult members.
you
right?
would think that there would be some kind of whatever. But for whatever reason, Jack Riley is like, no, we got to do something. Something has to be done.
Before this actually comes out, there's got a lot of momentum. They're getting a lot of good press. Yeah, and they're a little bit more political. So it was all kind of like really well put together. Like they were setting themselves up for success.
And they're putting out great stuff.
Yeah.
Like the content that they're producing is not garbage. It's not trash. It's just it's unfortunate that in public consciousness they're not really, where it's at.
Right,
So
but they're starting to get hip here.
they
Yeah.
I figured this one must have sold a lot better than Sunflower. I mean, it's a lot easier to find in record stores today, where Sunflower is tough to come by.
Huh, you'd think that it would be easier because like maybe they just had leftovers or something.
Nah, I mean maybe, but
Yeah. This probably has more
usually,
repressings,
the
too.
Used record stores are going to find stuff that people
Did buy initially. Yeah, that's
just
true.
Sat in garages or whatever. But, yeah. Anything else? I mean, finding this album in a record store sounds like it's time for an episode of Sound of Vision. All right, Sound of Vision, where we discuss all things aesthetic using the scale provided to us by David Bowie. If we really like something glam, we call it a
low.
That's right, David Bowie's masterpiece. If we don't like something, Tim,
Never Let Me Down.
in which David Bowie definitely, David, seek help.
And then he died.
And if it's the middle, it's comfortable middle ground. We call it a Let's Dance. Yeah. All right. Surfs Up is what we're talking about here.
It's a really interesting cover.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, there's the juxtaposition of the title.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The idea of, we're a surf band. And then it's based on, I think, the painting or it's either painting or a sculpture. First, called The End of the Trail.
James
it's sort
Earl
of
Fraser.
It's sort of the opposite of is it the Brother Records logo?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which is the Native American guy with his arms open and head to the sky. This one he's slumped over.
Yeah.
It's just so dark in color. And the title and the name of the band is so tiny up there on the top. It's like a real bummer.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
The album is so dark.
It's so great.
The second half of this record is really, really dark. And it fits in with that whole idea of, Riley wanting to make them a more, quote unquote, relevant band and change that image of them just being a bunch of striped shirt wearing goodies.
Yeah.
And this cover fits in well with that. It's a striking image. The darkness of it is, I don't know, kind of compelling.
It's mysterious.
It's so great. It's Surf's Up. Wah, wah. Sad trombone.
I mean, any thought that somebody might have, Surf's Up, all right, they're back to surf. Then they look at this cover and they're like, nope, this is not gonna be a fun in the sun record.
And the one thing that I get stuck on is that if it weren't for the marketing and the momentum they were building, I can't imagine this selling well. If people just come across it in the record store.
This does not have shelf appeal to it.
You wouldn't even realize. No, it's a Beach Boys album. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. That I think that's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. It's there's so much depth here. This is a piece of art, literally a piece of art on the cover, and it's a statement. Right? Here we are talking about the end of the trail, and we're
that's true. There's like a symbolic thing there.
Western bound. Here we are, hope, and there's some of that international appeal of the Beach Boys is this westward, where anything's possible. We're riding the waves of the future, riding the waves of.
Well, end of the trail can either mean you've arrived at your destination and there's your whole life
paradise,
or it can mean like this is the end. Like we're at the end of the trail.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it is there's that depth to this that I think is what I love about the Beach Boys and about.
It's a low.
It's a low.
It's a low. 100% low.
There's kind of
in fact, can you play the Brian Wilson? I'm giving this cover a Brian Wilson.
No, that's not what we do.
Is that not how it works?
I'll say there's a dual origin story to this, which they could both be true. Jack Riley claims to have found a painting of I don't know if it's this painting, but a painting of this sculpture in a thrift store or something like that. and buying it and thinking that would be a good cover. But then Brian claims that this painting or a similar one was hanging behind Murray's desk in their house or office or something like that.
It's a pretty common,
Is it?
like
Yeah.
painting? I guess. Yeah,
Okay.
there used to be a. Like whenever the traffic was really bad on 205, I would take the detour through Oregon City across the bridge to get to work, and you like in a antique vintage shop right along the
yeah.
main street there. I'd drive by like all the time. Oh, they've got that framed. At first I thought it was just like the album cover.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's like an actual
Yeah, it's a-
And you didn't-
painting.
you
It
didn't
was
stop and buy
reproduced
it?
quite a bit.
I didn't. I don't know why. I was always
been a
running
good
late
one.
to work.
Yeah, yeah.
So
All right, so it's a low.
yeah.
It's a low.
No, I think it's their best album cover, probably. It's. I think it's my pick for their best album. cover.
Yep, mine.
I can see that.
How are you not going to play the Brian Wilson
That's
song
not
for
what we
it?
hear. Freaking tone down your voice, Glenn.
Jeez. Yeah, this is the best. This is the best album cover of the Beach Boys. Sound and Vision. David Bowie approves.
Yeah, good
It's
episode.
slow.
Good episode.
Good stuff.
All right, well, hey, let's take a quick break, and we're gonna come back and talk about the A side. That's industry talk for the first few songs on the album.
All right, we're back. We are discussing the A side of Surf's Up. Surf's Up,
Yeah. Let's go surfing.
track 1.
Boom, boom, doop, 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 doop. Actually, you know what? Let's not go surfing because track 1 is called "Don't Go Near the Water." That's kind of hilarious.
It's awesome.
Don't do it.
So good.
Don't go
That's
surfing.
great.
This is a Mike and Al collab, but I love it.
Yeah, Don't Go Near the Water is, again, it's awesome. I love it. Surf's Up.
I like
Don't
the
go near
when-
the water.
Yeah, yeah. I like when they do the, I don't know what the lyric is with the bubble bath part, like. It's cheesy, but I like it.
There is some weird lyrical stuff going on in there, right? They're like talking about, I don't know, like toothpaste and stuff like that.
Right.
That's
I mean, it's
destroying
about-
the water.
it's about
like,
pollution. Yeah,
I don't know. The
yeah.
toothpaste is really the main culprit
I think
here.
just trash,
I mean,
trash and chemicals.
Yeah.
But yeah, political song, kind of a socially conscious thing with some of Jack Riley's influence. Yeah.
Yeah, I always kind of pictured, with that kind of narrative of the genesis of this album with Jack Riley and the pitch to be more relevant socially. I always kind of envisioned him sitting the guys down and being like, "Here's my idea," and then I imagine Mike Love running off with his notebook and scratching down, starting to get to work, and this is the lyrically, "Don't go near the water" is kind of some of that, but whatever.
This is coming up on this side, but I'm sure Mike had a real oh, I know what I'm going to do moment. He's like, I got a great idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, good track 1.
yeah, it's a good start.
Track 2, Long Promised Road.
Good Carl.
Fucking all Carl.
Yeah.
It's great.
It is.
This is
Greatest Carl Wilson song.
at this point.
I'm
Up to this point. There's one coming up that I think I might like a little bit. I mean, they're both great though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
it's,
this.
It has this gear shifting thing, but in a good way, where it starts off as just kind of like almost a slow song, and then it just kicks into high gear with the chorus, or maybe it's the pre-chorus or whatever. And I love that. It's great. It's dynamic. I like the background ba 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 ba's, and the synth. Like it's got very tasteful, subtle synth in it, and a lot of these songs do actually.
Yeah, Carl actually plays like a Moog synthesizer.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
this.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, again, maybe this is a good time to reiterate Carl's influence on this album because he's the leader now of the band, and he really is he's all over the place. He's playing electric guitars, he's playing acoustic guitars, pianos, he's playing Hammond organ, some synthesizer, bass guitar at one point. Even I think he actually plays drums on this one as well.
Really? I didn't look at the personnel.
Yeah, he's playing drums on this song and on Field Flows.
Wow, cool.
So way to go. Way to branch out.
Yeah.
No.
Fucking boss. Like he's doing everything on this song. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like literally, I'm
It's
looking.
like maybe this is the one where they were recording in factions because like
It must be because
just no one else is there. He's just I'm just gonna do the whole fucking thing.
on Rate Your Music. If you hover over the his name there, he's like everything that he does on the album is A2B1. So he's doing the synth, the Moog, electric piano, the organ, the bass, the guitar, the drums,
Nice.
other percussion,
Wow.
and tambourine. Oh, the tamborine's just on Don't Go Near the Water. Anyway, though, like this is a pretty much Carl and only Carl song. So
Nice job, Carl.
well done.
All right, track 3.
So we talk about them making politically relevant, important music, and what more important message could we possibly ever receive than to take good care of our feet?
Yeah.
Take a load off.
Called
Yeah.
is it Take a Load Off or Care of? It's
Take a load off.
Take a load off your feet is the title, but the
Right.
chorus
The
hook
lyric
take-
is
And
take good care
I've
of
also
it.
seen this one written as "Take a Load Off Your Feet" with Pete in parentheses, and if you listen, they literally say Pete at the end of that phrase. So I think that's funny. They're talking to some guy named Pete.
Pete.
Take
I like it
good
a
care of
lot.
your
This
feet,
was a holdover. So Alan Bryan co-wrote it. Al found it in the vault or something. He was like, "Hey, let's bring this one over." I think it was from I don't even know what sessions it was from, but I like it. I love
Totally sounds like it could be another Friends song.
Yeah, and maybe that was it. But I love the vocal effects and stuff. It's kind of a weird, goofy song, but I like it a lot.
Pete.
Yeah.
Whenever my plantar fasciitis flares up, this song like
Yeah.
gets stuck in my head for weeks at a time. Take
Yeah.
care of your feet.
It's just something about avocado oil, taking a bath. Yeah. Good shit.
It's charming.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. All right. Next track is Disney Girl.
Disney Girls.
Disney Girls by this is another
Hey,
Bruce Johnston.
Bruce Johnston. Yeah. Hey.
It's all Bruce. I
Great.
like it.
I like it. Yeah.
I like his vocal.
Yep.
I honestly love the fact that he says Disney with 3 syllables. I found that there's Art Garfunkel covered this song on an album, a solo album, and he did not have the guts to do that. So he's like Disney Girls, or I don't even know how he's
Not good enough. It needs it. It needs
You gotta
it.
say Disney Girls.
Come on, Art.
It's very schmaltzy.
But
like
I like it.
Nostalgic.
it grows.
I
It
do like it.
grows.
I like it. And I guess his sort of inspiration was apparently looking out into the audience and seeing so many kids who were just all messed up on drugs. And I wanted to call back to a time when, maybe we were a little, what did he say? A little naive, but, at least we were healthy. Something like that.
Well, now I like it a little less.
I mean, Bruce is a square. Come on.
Yeah.
That's fine. Whatever. But again, this is another
That whole
song.
misremembered past shit, though. is
Yeah.
Right, but he's embracing his Bruceness. This is another
guess.
just fully Bruce song. It's not a Beach Boys song. I like it.
And yeah, I like it. And I think it's a great way to close out side A. I think it's a great.
Hold on.
I agree.
Hold on. Before we get that, though, anybody know who plays drums on it?
Ooh, I don't. Charles Manson.
Nope. The fire breather himself.
Ooh, Daryl Dragon.
Daryl Dragon.
the captain.
The captain.
Captain
Tennille.
Beefheart.
Captain.
Oh,
Yeah. Daryl Dragon, Captain Beefheart.
Yeah,
Did you ever see him in the same place at the same time?
Nope.
No.
I don't even know what Daryl Dragon looks like, so it could just
Well,
be
he's
Don
got-
Van Vliet.
Wait.
green
No.
scales.
No. Corrections and revisions.
What?
Corrections and revisions. Daryl Dragon did not play the drums. Dennis Dragon
What?
played the drums.
Who the hell is that?
I don't know, but it's marked down as Dennis Dragon.
Dennis
drums.
Dragon.
Whereas Daryl Dragon played Moog synthesizer, maybe
Yeah, you're right.
on the next track.
And Kathy Dragon played
Well,
flutes.
I was gonna say I got Kathy Dragon on flute and Daryl Dragon on drums.
No, Dennis Dragon on
Well,
drums.
so we're going from this is Wikipedia versus Rate Your Music, so
Yeah.
who knows? But this is from Craig Slavinsky, who is like that's what he does is he figures out the personnel and all these. So
okay.
maybe the whole Dragon family got involved. You know,
the dragons,
or maybe Dennis
the
and
dragonettes.
Dennis and Daryl had a baby. You know, and they took Dragon's last name.
Wait, a Dennis Dragon is a 3-axle double-decker bus.
So a bus played the drums.
A Dennis Dragon sounds like it could be some sort of a euphemism.
Yeah,
I mean,
give you the
like,
old Dennis Dragon. Yeah, it's all right. So
No, he's Daryl Dragon's brother.
okay,
Dennis
there you go.
and Daryl Dragon.
You know what that is? It's a double dragon.
Hey!
I mean, that's a video game, but also
Walked
sounds dirty.
Right into
Gave her the old
Dennis
double
Dragon.
dragon. Yeah.
hot Dennis Dragon.
Hot double dragon. Okay, so
yeah, so side one ends there.
Yeah, that's the great end.
Wait a minute. It sounds like it's time for an episode of Heroes and Villains.
yeah.
All right, it's Heroes and Villains, where we discuss the heroes and the villains, whatever it is we happen to be talking about this week. And this week we were talking about surfs. Are you guys okay?
I'm vomiting. I think we're both vomiting because of the whatever prompted
Well, let's
this.
start with the heroes.
Okay.
Hold on, hero. Good Carl.
Good Carl. Carl
Carl.
Wilson, absolutely.
Hey, shout out for Jack Riley.
I was going to
though.
say Jack Riley.
Jack Riley,
Apparently, he and
shout
Brian
out.
had a contentious relationship, but you know, he's
Well, so did apparently he and Van Dyke Parks. But
sure, yeah.
you
So,
gotta
but
still
he
give
really
some
elevated the whole band at this point. Jack Riley, I think, is definitely a hero too.
love. Yeah, Carl steps up. Hey, apparently the Dragon Brothers
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon.
Should be in consideration for the hero.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's
Lots of heroes
that's
here.
all. There's no villain because there's no reason for a villain here, right? You know who the villains are? Lieber and Stoller.
No. All right,
Okay.
the villain. I mean, there's plenty of weeks in which the villain is a very, very easy choice.
Yeah.
This is one such
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
yeah.
The villain is Mike Love
Yes.
for writing the worst Beach Boys song to date.
This
Well,
abomination.
and writing in quotes even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Writing in quote. Well, I mean,
That's
sure,
probably
he-
even
he
additional
steals-
reason why.
he steals
It's-
a chorus,
It's a ripoff.
but he writes those verses.
He steals it wholesale as far as just the format. I mean,
It's the
song,
worst kind of writing.
So-
It's not writing.
Right.
It's stealing.
And
writing. It's parody. But
don't
like
know.
not even trying to be
And
parody.
here, first of all,
Ugh,
let's
so bad.
I do think this time we should contain this song entirely within the episode of Heroes and Villains.
That's fine. Yeah. Just remember, we got to close it out when we're done.
Right. So Lieber and Stoller are credited as co-writers. Basically, he took Riot and Cell Block Number 9 and changed the lyrics to make it about, you know, current social issues, student demonstration time. There's a riot going on. It's the same song, but it sucks. There's like he's singing through a megaphone. There's like police sirens. This is literally the only Beach Boys song I skip. Like before I even get into it, it's just like, oh, this is on. Next song.
If you only just heard the music of it, it would already suck enough. Just
Yeah.
because, that police siren
bad.
noise thing is
Yeah, it's
shit,
just
and
bad.
it's just claustrophobic and shit. But
Yeah.
still,
But if you have a Bachelor of Bullets, you might like it.
oh my god, this is the most cynical. Like, first off, what side is he even like?
Right. Because at the end he says, just like, don't, like, stay away.
Stay-
Next
yeah,
time there's
stay
a riot,
away.
you better stay away or whatever.
No need getting involved in any kind of,
Yeah.
Don't stand up for anything that matters.
go woke, go broke. Am I right?
Yeah. No good.
Fucking
Villain. And, you know,
shit.
and why I say Lieber and Stoller, maybe they're the villains because they, if they hadn't created Riot and Cell Block Number 9, maybe Mike would be, still working at the gas station.
This song is fucking abysmal.
Yep.
It is the worst Beach Boys song to date. To date.
Yes.
Folks, if you're just coming along for this ride and you're like, oh, well, listen to Pet Sounds and I've listened to the greatest hits and everything, how much worse could it get than student demonstration? I mean, you guys really, this got to be as bad as it gets, right? No.
No.
But this is fucking bad.
Up to now.
Awful.
Worst.
Awful
Worst.
song.
The irony of all of this is somebody is going to get on and give extra hits to this song on Spotify or Apple Music.
Yeah.
Just out of
True.
curiosity.
Just look it up on YouTube or something. I guess.
mean, I tend to be one of those, you don't skip songs when you're listening
Same,
to an album, you know? And even as awful as this song is, I don't believe that I've ever like intentionally skipped it when I'm listening to
always
Surf's
do.
Up. It's like I have an obligation.
I do. Like in
No,
my
this is
listening
my
to this
reminder
album.
to get up and flip the disc over.
I have a yeah.
This is
I have a
the-
version of Surf's Up in my head that just doesn't include this song.
Yeah, normally when I'm listening to a record, like on vinyl, the side A ends and
Yeah.
it takes me a minute to realize
Right.
the music's over. I'm sitting in silence. I get up, I go flip the disc, put on side 2. With this one, as soon as it's on, I'm up, go, time to flip.
Yeah.
Side B.
So bad.
Totally.
So bad.
That's all right,
All right.
because it might have a total counterpart on the other side of things as we move ahead to the flip side, as they say in industry speak. We'll be back for that.
Hello. We are a podcast called Talking Down the Highway. This is the middle of the episode. If you're just joining us for some weird reason, go back to the beginning. Okay.
That would be weird.
That would be weird. Maybe
But
if
it's
at
a
some
choice.
point they're going to start rebroadcasting this on PBS radio. So yeah. Anyway, talking about side 2 or side B of Surf's Up. We've already talked about the heights Carl Wilson has reached in this album already. Track 1 of side 2 is Feel Flows, which is another really good Carl song. It's so kind of laid back.
It's wonderful.
It really is.
It's great.
Coked out much?
You think so?
It just has that feel. Like it's just.
I don't think
song
so.
just sounds
Feels laid
like,
back to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems. I don't know. Maybe because it's very stylized of the time, and that would have been the drug of the moment. Maybe, perhaps that it just has always felt kind of coked out to me. But
I mean, that was contributing to Brian's condition at that time for sure.
it's a good song.
Yeah, I like it.
Carl is
Oh,
listed
Jack Riley
as
co-wrote it.
Carl is listed as performing pianos with taped strings on this track. Wouldn't that be a mellotron?
Well,
No.
maybe the tape is like dampening the strings, like it's physical
like a
tape.
treated piano. They did that kind of stuff. I think we talked on the Pet Sounds, one of the Pet Sounds episodes, about how they would put like tacks and
Hair-
clothespin,
or
hairpins and
hairpins, yeah,
stuff to get different sounds. So, yeah.
But yeah, I like it. Apparently, Riley contributed. I know he contributed lyrics to some songs, so maybe that was one of those.
It's a nice vibey track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really really good piece of music. Nice long like extended instrumental section of it as well too.
Oh, that's what it was. Sorry, just going back. Long Promised Road is another one with Riley lyrics, and I forgot that he gets some flack for being a little Van Dyke Parks-ish as far as like, but worse. Like it's so hard to lift the jeweled scepter, do 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 do, that kind of thing. That is Long Promised Road, I think, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Jack Riley wrote some lyrics.
All right,
All right.
good for Jack.
Yeah. Looking at Tomorrow, a welfare song is track 2, written by Al and someone named Winfrey, who might be Oprah.
That's canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this song. It's weird. It's like a very dark. I mean, we're on side 2 now, which has a darker feel.
Oh yeah.
This is
the
like-
whole second side is.
Yeah.
Dark. I think even Feel Flows, which you described as chill. I think there's an unsettling
Yeah. Okay.
kind of a nature to it.
I can see that for sure.
Let's just say, I mean, the vibes of the album start off relatively good, and then Mike just drops that abysmal, horrible song, and it's like, all right, and well now, and maybe that's what makes student demonstration time have some value. I don't know. Maybe it's like, all right,
A hard reset.
yeah, Bruce has this sappy, Disney girls, and now like here come the negative vibes, and they stay there for the rest of the album.
I don't see, but these are negative in a good way. if
Oh
that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So this song, I've drawn this comparison before, and again, I think these were happening at the same time, but there were some Nilsson elements to this song, I think. The last one I mentioned was Jump Into the Fire. This one, I don't know. I think there's a chord change. It sounds like Without You, but just when they get to that that's very Nilsson-esque too. And who knows who's influencing who in that scenario. But I just felt a little bit of that vibe in there.
Yeah, definitely that early '70s Southern California,
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yep. I like this song. There's a really cool little I always call it a little lonesome keyboard or organ part that comes in the later parts of the verses as well too. That's cool. And yeah, it's a good little Al joint.
Glenn.
No, it's fine.
Hate it. It's fine.
It's fine. It's great.
Next one is A Day in the Life of a Tree.
Yeah,
So-
it is.
I love this song. Honestly, it's weird,
That's how I feel about this song.
but it's like it's kind of devastating. The first, what is that? Feel the wind burn through my skin, burn through my skin. The pain, the air is killing me. So Brian, I honestly, and I feel stupid about it now, but I honestly thought Brian was singing this. It sounds a lot more like older Brian, like in years to come. And it actually sounds a little bit like Dennis, but it's Jack Riley
Jack
singing
Riley,
lead. Yeah.
and
They
the best,
they tricked him into singing.
that's
Right.
the best part of the
Yeah.
story. That story.
And then they sat there while he was recording. And they're like, "Sing from the heart."
And then Van Dyke comes in at the end too.
Yeah. Another potential hero.
Van Dyke Parks. Oh, for sure. I mean, he got them on Reprise. He got them that Big Sur Folk Festival, and he's singing here. He's
He's got
around,
something to do
man.
with a song that's coming up too.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's right. But yeah, I like that song a lot.
Yeah, this one gets stuck in my head a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, wait, hold on, we never closed out that episode of Heroes and Villains, did we?
We took a break.
Okay, that's fine. Just want to make sure we're make sure accounting knows that
I forgot to
because
mention
that's
was one.
sponsored by a particular.
Yeah,
Sure.
Speaking of the footnote of that Heroes and Villains segment, Blondie Chaplin played bass on Student
cool.
Demonstration Time.
Oh, well,
It's like his first
I mean,
appearance.
this is at this point they were the other guys were meaning not Brian were touring with the Flame was like their opening act, so they were already they were Blondie and Ricky were around. Yeah.
All right.
What is next?
Well, anything else about Day in the Life of a Tree?
It's true. Sometimes trees die.
Yeah, it's sad. I think I like it. I think it's definitely got that kind of the album cover vibe.
Yeah.
It's that kind of darkness. It's that kind of flip of Surf's Up.
Yep. Totally.
That wah, wah. Yeah, and, maybe it's a little bit basic, a little on the nose as far as being topical and relevant, but.
Well, but sir, there's kind of a double thing going on there because yes, it's about maybe the environment and pollution, but also it's just a metaphor for Brian and how he feels in general about life. I used to be full of life, and now I'm whatever. That whole theme.
Yeah, it's this honest,
Very dark.
Very
dark reflection.
And yet it's not even in the darkest song. I mean, this is that's a day at Disneyland compared to the next song.
Yeah,
Come on.
This track is
Yeah.
called "Till I Die." Yeah, this is a very existential song. He's a cork on the ocean. He's a rock in a landslide. He's a leaf on a windy day. It doesn't have. It's not really a traditional song structure. It's not. It's really just kind of these. I don't know what like chants, I guess, or incantations or something like that.
But it's beautiful. It fits.
It's beautiful.
It's right in line. I don't know if maybe this is too soon to say this, but I think these last three songs on this side are work so well together. They're almost like a little suite of this existential kind of darkness. I feel like these three songs make the album.
Yeah.
This moment on the on the B side, tracks 3, 4, and 5 here are just devastating.
I agree. I think especially as a trio, as a suite. This song in particular, I noticed that I kind of don't love it as a song, but I like it as an idea and as just a piece of the whole. I do really like the outro though. Just till I die. That part's really good. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, this is a great song.
Yeah.
I love it. Really, really love this one. It's dark, maybe the darkest darkest song in their catalog.
Yeah. Well, there was a little backstory. I don't know if maybe you were about to say the same thing.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like musically, it's really, really heavy.
Oh, yeah.
There's just this. No sunlight coming through.
Right,
This
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Just in terms of the mix and the sound,
That's
it's
true.
really, really heavy
Yeah.
song. I love it.
The backstory is that like Brian wrote the song. This is one of those moments where he came out of the bedroom and, I think he recorded it or maybe he just played it for them. And this is another one where Mike's like, it's too dark, it's depressing.
You're fucking with the formula.
Yeah. And so Brian actually rewrote some of the lyrics. So instead of like, I lost my way, it's I found my way and things like that to conclude each section.
That would have been dumb.
Yeah, but then it kind of got shelved, and at some point when they needed another Brian song for the album, Brian's like, okay, here's this song, and let's just keep the regular lyrics this time. So it almost got altered, like "Hang On to Your Ego," but didn't end up being that. So this is the original. These are the original lyrics with the original dark tone. Ended up on the album.
There's a really weird juxtaposition when they do the "I lost my way," hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
even more so the second time because it's like it kills my soul. Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's all right though. It's still a
No,
song.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
At this time, Brian is. I mean, it's pretty low time for Brian.
Oh, yeah.
He's like struggling with depression. Apparently, there's a story that he is at the beach and threatening to drive his car off Santa Monica Pier.
Really?
And that either he writes that night or the next day as he's kind of reflecting on that moment of darkness, of depression, and this song comes up. Apparently, also he had ordered his gardener to dig a grave for him in his backyard.
Drama queen.
Yeah, right. So I mean, there's a lot of darkness going
There
on.
is,
There's a
yeah.
lot of
heavy because again, like, but it's in the instrumental
Right,
elements of
yeah.
it too, like just that low organ sound and the vibraphones and just those like block chord harmonies that they're doing. It's so good.
Yeah.
Very very evocative piece of music.
So the final track is the title track, "Surf's Up."
It's all right.
There's a really interesting anecdote about this in the book by Carlin. So obviously this is from Smile.
Hold on. You've gotten away from Wikipedia and down the highway. Now are they just going to say that you're Carlin down the highway?
Carlin Down the Highway. The one book. There's dozens of books, and I got this one.
One book.
I think I got it used off Amazon.
You need to get all of your information from a 1980s era zine. Maybe.
Yeah.
Come
That's
on,
right.
Come on, Tim.
I need to do a lot of work.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, obviously this is from Smile. Everyone at this point, has heard the Brian Wilson Presents Smile, Smile Sessions. I'd have to go back and listen to the version of Surf's Up on there because I don't really remember. But I don't remember how complete it was because this one, Carl basically decided that the record label is going to want at least one more Brian songwriting credit. So he went into the vaults. He found, I guess, just like the first half or first third of this, which is, with the part with the shaker and the more instrumentation and everything like that. And it kind of just ended there. And the only reason he or anyone knew what the complete song sounded like is from the performance on that Leonard Bernstein show,
Interesting.
which was just Brian and a piano. So they knew the structure of it. They knew what it had to be. They literally took audio from that performance for the second half of the song, all the piano stuff. and Carl augmented it with his own voice, and like there was an instrumental. I guess there was also an instrumental portion of it too from before, but they used his performance from the Bernstein show with added vocals from Carl to just sort of like beef it up. And then the end, the sort of cha cha pa cha pa cha pa cha, that whole thing, the child is the father of man part. On the TV show, Brian just did Oz or something there. So they were trying to come up, or Carl remembered this chant from the Smile sessions, and they were doing that. But then allegedly, according to Carlin, Brian burst in one day in his striped pajamas and said, like he'd been listening to them or something through the floor. Like initially he was like, I don't want anything to do with Surf's Up. Go ahead, but I'm not involved. But then on this like last day of recording, he burst in and was like, this song needs another lyric at the end. And he came up with it and he sang it. He was like, they knew that if they didn't record it right then and there, he would just go back up to his bed. And so his contribution vocally and lyrically is the actual lyric in that ending part where he says, a children's song. Have you listened as they play? Their song is love and the children know the way. And then that like capped off the song. It's just kind of a cool, like, we don't know if we're going to pull this off. We're kind of like piecing this thing together. And then Brian comes in victoriously at the end and like, yes, I will finish the song.
Nice.
Stamp of approval.
The hero's journey.
That's right. Yeah.
God tier.
Yeah.
God tier.
Totally.
We took too long to say it. This song is unbelievable.
Of course.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It is glorious.
Those lyrics by Van Dyke are amazing.
Apologies to Caroline. No, this is the best album close of a Beach Boys song.
Yeah. And, we talked about Cabin Essence, right? On 2020. Is that on 2020? Or what was that on?
That's what it ended up on, yeah.
So I wasn't here, but my note was that it doesn't feel, I don't like it I don't accept it on an album, you know what I mean? Like it's just a standalone song, it's a separate thing.
Weird hodgepodge anyway.
But this feels like part of the album.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is where it belongs.
Yeah.
This is the conclusion of this story. This is the end of the trail. Surf is up.
End of the trail.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's wonderful. Best song on the album, best closer of a Beach Boys album.
Well, Remy asked what sounded like a really random question when we were talking about 2020, and they said, "Would you do it again more if Surf's Up were the last Beach Boys album?" Like this whole nostalgia kind of thing, and that they're coming back full circle. And I feel like the bigger thing there is if Surf's Up were the last Beach Boys album, if this is where the Beach Boys story ended with this, trilogy of songs to close out this really dark record, there would be this really poignant kind of thing. Like this is where America's band ends, and Surf's Up is the exclamation point at the end, and it's the bringing the last major piece of Smile out into the world.
Right.
That would be too perfect.
Yeah.
It would.
Too clean.
I can almost see it happening, because just based on where the next two albums go, where the personnel shake up, this could have been the last Beach Boys album.
Yeah, for
sure. And maybe for all intents and purposes, if you look at it like this, maybe it should be. Maybe it is. Maybe, I don't know. In some universe, this is the end. And there is a really, heaviness to this that is kind of beautiful.
Well, and in that universe, I think this is kind of, especially with, in that anecdote, was this the last thing that they recorded for the record too?
Oh, probably. I don't remember that, but probably.
Because think about that. What happens with Brian after this record? He totally checks out. Even on these next couple albums, he's physically kind of there, but he's not at the same time.
Yeah.
And
and
he doesn't come back really as a full on my hands are on this with Love You, which was intended as a Brian solo album anyway.
Right.
There is kind of this you could look at this as the last real Brian Wilson led Beach Boys album.
This is the death of the Beach Boys. That's what I'm saying. The surf is up. It's over. The
I like
Beach
that.
Boys
I
are
like that.
over. This is the end of what we thought of those boys in stripes. It's done.
Those
They're
friendly
dead.
neighborhood boys.
I think
Surf
Brian
is up.
I
I love
think
that.
Brian is trying to kill them off. I
Yeah.
think Brian is like having an existential crisis in his life, and I think this is maybe representative of what he's trying to do. He's trying to put this behind him. He's trying to say, enough. I'm done. The Beach Boys, that was great. It was a good time. But and I think this kind of speaks to where we are as a nation. I think maybe at the beginning,
Really?
I'm serious.
Okay.
I think that that's why this album, it gets way more listens for me, because this album feels like an important kind of moment. You know, we've been coming through a coming of age story, that hero's journey with our country, and I think this kind of is part of that story. This is like,
in a way,
you got to get over this. It's time to move on.
In a way,
Surf's up.
it really
and
is.
while you're there, take good care of your feet.
Yeah.
In a way, it really is student demonstration time. If you think about it.
Oh, we have to rate this. We have to rate this album.
Yeah, let's rate it.
We have to rate this album, and if it freaking wasn't student demonstration time, if student demonstration time wasn't here, we would be singing Brian's Perfection.
Yeah.
If student demonstration time wasn't on this album, and if it were the last Beach Boys album,
then it would be
like really, those two things.
If those happened,
it would be a Brian.
it would be a
It'd be
Brian
such a Brian.
Yeah.
it'd be
Because it
perfect.
would have that poignancy to it that.
You know what though? Even with student demonstration time, maybe it needs to have maybe it needs to have Mike, that blight on it, because
Blight love.
I don't know. There is, you can't have the highs without the lows. You can't have the beauty of Surf's Up without that reminder that there's this tension of like this desire so bad to be cool, but no reference. And I don't know. It's almost like Mike was trying so hard to deliver, to be relevant, to be poignant. And Brian's like, enough. Like, can you leave me alone? Can we just...
I think there's been enough. There's been enough Mike over the years that we know that, he's bad. Like, you know what? We don't need like a glaring Mike Love error to appreciate the rest of it,
All right. If we're doing our rating, I'm going to give this a Brian Wilson, just so that you guys can talk me down to a Dennis.
Well, I'm going to give it a Dennis and a half.
Yeah, I mean it's a strong ass Dennis.
It's right. Yeah.
We gave it for the
top.
catalog crawl. It came in at number 4.
Ooh, this might be my number 3.
Well, yeah, and I can get that, and I can totally respect it. We put Beach Boys Today at number 3. I mean now there's nothing higher. Okay, so obviously we had Pet Sounds at 1. We had Smile at 2. We put Beach Boys Today at 3 because, again, Remy and I are both really, really big fans of that. We gave it a 9
And you didn't
point.
consult me. If you had consulted me, I would have challenged
There's a reason
you
why.
to put this...
So anyway, but we gave it a
Anyways,
9.5 for today, and
Valid.
we gave this a 9.4.
Okay.
For Surf's Up. I mean, they are.
Yeah. I love this album.
Yeah.
I hate student demonstration time, and I love the cover. I love Surf's Up. It's a beautiful moment. That whole last half of the B-side is glorious. Put on those last 3 tracks and just feel like a human. Yeah.
A very, very sad one.
A very, very sad one. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back to wrap it all up. All right, we're back to wrap it all up. As always, like, subscribe, smash that like button. Comment too, even if it's negative. Just comment. Engagements.
Yes.
that helps us.
Talking Beach Boys on Instagram.
Because remember, we have that goal. We want to end up on the Beach Boys cruise,
Yeah.
and we can't do that if we can't
Yeah, we need to
monetize.
keep it
So
going.
we need the algorithm
Or-
to keep
yeah.
pumping us up. So.
Maybe Bobby Figueroa can get us in.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, press credentials.
I'm excited about our next
Bobby?
album. I'm excited about our next album.
the
It's
next
got a
two.
soft- yeah, next couple. It's got a soft spot
Same.
in my heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Alright.
listening.
All right. Sounds good.
It's
Well,
the
around.
end.
we'll catch you next time.
The end of the trail.